dear viewers, welcome to another episode of Family Focus. As you know, over 27 episodes we will be discussing things such as divorce, social media, bullying, financial struggles, domestic violence, and things such as effective parenting. Our mission is to raise awareness and combat stigma around some of these taboo topics. We want to make a positive impact on our UK families. Join us on the journey of hope and guidance in Family Focus. Today's episode is about exploring welfare rights. What does welfare rights mean? It's our benefit system, it's our housing system, and a lot more. In the episode and the subsequent 2 episodes of our Life Community Issues series, we'll be focusing on welfare rights. We'll explore the complexities surrounding these rights, including scenarios where deserving individuals miss out on entitled benefits. Additionally, we'll provide guidance and information on how to access these benefits. Today we have a very special guest and we are delighted to welcome Mr. Manjur Uddin as our guest today. Manjur has been working at the London Borough of Tower Hamlets for over 30 years. He specialises in welfare rights and benefits. He offers expert advice, casework and advocacy to residents representing them at tribunals. Alongside his team, he provides second-tier guidance internally and externally. Referral cases come from various council services and community agencies, mainly serving elderly, sick and the disabled, often from a Bangladeshi origin. His work reduces inequalities, secures housing and provides essential care. Manjur's efforts have earned him numerous awards for empowering families and young carers. Manjur bhai, how are you today? I've made a brief introduction, but I want you to kind of tell us a bit more about yourself. So how are you doing today?
Welcome viewers. Thank you for having me on your show tonight. I actually work for London Borough of Camden, not Tower Hamlets, so this is a small correction.
Awesome.
That's fine. I work as a senior welfare rights advisor and I very much work in the community. We have a small team of welfare rights advisors in Camden. We are part of adult social care. We have other welfare rights teams within different directorates, but our work is predominantly with adult social care service users.
Great. Okay. So can you tell us briefly about welfare rights? What is welfare rights?
Welfare has a quite broad meaning. It's actually legal entitlement to protect and promote an individual's well-being, covering aspects such as benefits, housing, health, education and family life and so on. But generally the welfare rights work that the council does, the CAB does, a lot of it is actually around the benefits.
Right, okay. So afnetura Bangla hoita farbani je welfare rights or mani kita?
Welfare rights আসলে দরকার একজন ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল বা ফ্যামিলি তার যে হয়তো একটা ইনকাম বা তার হাউজিং, তার এডুকেশন, তার হেলথ, everything, family life সব কিছু মিলিয়ে যে দরকার একজন ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল বা একটা পরিবারের আপনার ওয়েলবিং সম্পর্কিত এটা আর কি মেইনলি.
Okay. And can you explain some of the upcoming reforms or developments in the UK welfare system that will impact individual rights or benefits?
Sure. As you probably heard in the media, and of course a lot of people are already impacted because of the Welfare Reform Act that was brought in 2012. And more recently, actually, the government migrating people into universal credit. So for a lot of working families, working age people, the main benefits now would be universal credit. So it is a big shift from the traditional legacy benefits that people are used to receiving. So the 6 main benefits that are actually replacing with universal credit are income support, income-based job seekers allowance, income-related employment and support allowance, housing benefit, and child tax credit and working tax credit. So a lot of families, a lot of people, individuals and families receiving any of these 6 benefits are subject to migration. And what we mean by migration is basically change.
So all the benefits সকলের কথা আপনি কইছেন ও সব benefits তারা replace করিলার universal credit দিয়া.
Exactly. The process has started some time ago.
Okay.
Obviously there are two aspects within the universal credit. একটা হইল গিয়ে আপনার যে দরকার ন্যাচারাল মাইগ্রেশন হইতে পারে, ফর এক্সাম্পল যে কেউ হয়তো সার্কামস্টান্স চেঞ্জ হয়েছে, কেউ হয়তো দরকার আপনার ফ্যামিলি ব্রেকআপ হয়েছে, বা একবার থেকে আরেকবার মুভ করছেন যেখানে হয়তো নয়াভাবে হাউজিং বেনিফিট ক্লেম করা লাগে। সো এই ধরনের সিচুয়েশনে বা ডিউরিং কোভিড হয়তো অনেকে আপনার দরকার ফার্লত আসলা বা অনেকে জব লস করছেন, এবং ইভেনচুয়ালি হয়তো তখন তারার যারা দরকার লেগেসি বেনিফিট পাওয়াত আসলা এরারও হয়তো অনেক সময় এটা ফোর্সড মাইগ্রেশন হয়েছে। ফোর্সড মাইগ্রেশন এবং ন্যাচারাল মাইগ্রেশনটা সেম থিং, বাট দ্য মেইন টপিক দ্যাট ইউ আর গোইং টু কনসেন্ট্রেট টুনাইট ইজ দ্য ম্যানেজ মাইগ্রেশন, যেটা গভর্নমেন্টে আপনার ডিডব্লিউপি আপনার যারা রিসিপিয়েন্ট আছেন তারা ইনভাইট করবো to migrate over to the new system, and this is what we are probably going to focus on tonight.
Okay, so আপনি ওটা যে তারা ইনভাইট করবো to move over to universal credit, but মানুষের তো choice নাই whether they want to or they don't.
Especially the working age people, যারা pensioner আছেন, is a different situation, but mainly দরকার যারা working age population, for example কেউ হয়তো আপনার ট্যাক্স ক্রেডিট ফাইরা, এরা হয়তো অনেকেই আপনার লেটার ফাইলেশন বুঝলেন। সো আসলে যে ম্যানেজ মাইগ্রেশনটা যখন ইউনিভার্সাল ক্রেডিট ইন্ট্রোডিউস করা হয়েছিল, তখন এই অ্যানাউন্সমেন্টটা দেওয়া হয়েছিল গভর্নমেন্টের পক্ষ থেকে, দেন ইট ওয়াজ ডিলেড বিকজ অফ কোভিড অ্যান্ড লকডাউন অ্যান্ড অল দিস, অ্যান্ড দেন তারা ডিফারেন্ট টাইম ফ্রেম সেট করছিল গভর্নমেন্টে যে ও টাইমে আমরা ও পার্টিকুলার গ্রুপে ও উইদিন দ্যাট টাইম ফ্রেম, এবং ফর এক্সাম্পল দরকার যারা হয়তো ইনকাম সাপোর্ট ফাইরা এরারে আমরা লাইক ফর এক্সাম্পল ম্যাথ থেকে ডিসেম্বর 2024 ভিতরে আনমু, ওর ধরনের প্ল্যান হল আসিল যে বাক্কা লঙ্গার টার্মে। মোর রিসেন্টলি দে ব্রট ইট ফরওয়ার্ড, অ্যান্ড দিস ইজ হোয়াট অ্যাকচুয়ালি ক্রিয়েটেড সাম আনসার্টেনিটি amongst the recipients. Not many people are still kind of ready for the move. And this is actually causing a lot of anxiety within the community, within the people like who are receiving benefits. So this is actually a major issue now.
So what was the thinking behind it? Why are they trying to make it all universal credit instead of different types?
It's obviously I work for the council, which is like a local government, and I cannot discuss or talk about the policies. What I'm here for is to spread the message that what actually people need to do to minimize the impact on their income, their family. So this is what we actually going to concentrate. But as you and I all know that when the government actually make changes, they make changes for the better. Sometimes it might be seen as it's actually not better, it's worse off, but not everybody. When any changes are introduced, some will welcome, some will criticize. So, you know,
some people are always scared of change.
Definitely, yeah.
So what's the common circumstances to trigger a natural migration?
Natural migration, say for example, if somebody moved from one borough to another, and if they were receiving housing benefit, for example, under the legacy benefits, now because they moved out of the borough, so they have to claim universal credit, which will pay for their rent as well if they're entitled to. So this is an example. Another example could be maybe there is a relationship breakdown, so they were receiving tax credit as a couple. Now probably one person can want to claim as a single claimant, so they have to claim universal credit. So there are lots of trigger for the migration, natural migration, but a lot of people receiving income support, the legacy benefits of the six will be migrated, and people receiving, for example, income support, the time frame is between April and June 2024.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Sorry, we're going to take a very short break, dear viewers. Do stay with us because we're going to continue this conversation. It's very important for everybody. So please stay with us and we will be back very shortly. Dear viewers, welcome back to Family Focus, where today we're talking about welfare benefits, and we have with us our very special guest today, Mr. Manjur Uddin, who works with London Borough of Camden. I'm going to get that right this time. And he's a senior advisor, and we were talking about managed migration and the dates and the time frames around certain things that you all have to do before you can move on, and don't miss those deadlines. So you're going to give us some more information about
what we're discussing before the break, that there are different group of people from the cohort, like the receiving benefits. There are time frame, for example, income support claimants will be sent letters from April to June, so it's already happening this year. And then there will be ESA with tax credit. So there are some families, maybe maybe father or the mother, maybe one of them unwell, they receive employment and support allowance. They have some dependents, so they get tax credit as well.
Right.
So these type of clients will be sent migration letter between July and September 2024. So again, it's going to start happening from next month. Then there will be job seekers allowance. People receiving job seekers allowance will be sent letters in September 2024. Then tax credit cases only will be from June to September 2024. Then housing benefit only will be from April to December 2024. And then last but not the least, ESA cases will be from September 2024 to December 2025. So these are the groups. They only have employment and support allowance, those who are incapable of work. So the time frame are different for people receiving different benefits.
So the city able ignore
no, definitely no. Managed migration zita amra bin khoram again in between, before the managed migration letter comes, jodi kheurir circumstance change hoy and it triggers a natural migration or forced migration, then they have no choice but to join the universal credit bus. যারা আপনার দরকা no change in circumstance, like the benefit গুলা বা the time frame গুলা আমি মেনশন করলাম, এরা যখন লেটার পাইবা, from the date of the letter they will have 3 months to make a claim. Certain situation
so they can apply করতে হবে বারবার.
Definitely. It's not automatic transfer. In the past যখন অন্যান্য বেনিফিট অফ মাইগ্রেশন হয়েছে, ফর এক্সাম্পল যখন আপনার পেনশনার হলে আপনার দরকা ডিপেন্ডেন্স আসলা, যারা পেনশন ক্রেডিটের মাঝে ডিপেন্ডেন্স ইনক্রিজ পাইতা, লাইক যারা চাইল্ড বেনিফিট ফর বাচ্চা আসলা, এরা যখন ট্যাক্স ক্রেডিটও নিয়ে ঢুকায় গভর্নমেন্টে, তখন এরা অটোমেটিকলি এরা ক্লেম করা লাগছে না, বিকজ এই ডেটা ট্রান্সফার করা হয়েছিল। বাট দিস টাইম under the universal credit managed migration, everybody who gets the letter will need to act, and they need to act within 3 months from the date of the letter.
Okay, so how can people get support? যে যারা মানে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করতে পারতা না বা তারার কোনো সাপোর্ট আছে?
Sure. Like generally দরকার হতো যারা অ্যাডভাইস সেন্টার যায় বা যারা সিএবি যায়, the DWP যেটা বা গভর্নমেন্ট যেটা তারা এনশিওর করছেন, তারা এডিশনাল ফান্ডিং দিচ্ছেন সিটিজেন অ্যাডভাইস ব্যুরোর। সো তারপরে আপনার বিভিন্ন কাউন্সিল ও পার্টনারশিপ অ্যাডভাইস পার্টনারশিপ হল আছে, বিভিন্ন কমিউনিটি এজেন্সি তারা অ্যাডভাইস প্রোভাইড করে। অনেকে আপনার দরকার হয়তো আউটরিচও করেন, লাইক বিভিন্ন কাউন্সিলে বা বিভিন্ন সিএবি সার্ভিসে, বা যেমন ক্যামডেনও আরেকটা অর্গানাইজেশন আছে যারা ক্যামডেনের বাইরেও মানুষেরও হেল্প করে, লাইক মেরি ওয়ার্ড লিগাল সেন্টার। এই ধরনের অর্গানাইজেশন যারা ভলেন্টারি বা কমিউনিটি অর্গানাইজেশন হল প্রত্যেক বড় মাঝেও আছে, গভর্নমেন্ট ফান্ডেড হোক আর লোকাল অথরিটি ফান্ডেড হোক। অন টপ অফ দ্যাট গভর্নমেন্ট এনশিওর করা যে সিএবিরে আপনার গভর্নমেন্ট ফান্ডেড হেল্প টু ক্লেম একটা আপনার টিম আছে উইদিন সিএবিস। So erare funding korse government to help the people, those who need help.
And is it available in different languages and things? If there's a language
generally citizen advice bureau jara hoto dorkar jara additional language needs আছে, তারা interpreter provide করে generally. But একটা জিনিস কেন আমি যে ডেডলাইন সম্পর্কে ম্যানেজ মাইগ্রেশনের যেমন আরো একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট বিষয় আছে যেগুলো হয়তো আমরা একটু মানে আলাপ করা দরকার যেমন কেউ যদি মিসলাইন ডেড করেন হ্যাঁ মিসলাইন আপনার ডেডলাইন মিস করেন সরি যেমন এক্সিস্টিং বেনিফিট যেটা পাওয়া আসলে এটা স্টপ হয়ে যাবো গিয়া হ্যাঁ আর কেউ যদি দরকার উইদিন দ্য টাইম ফ্রেম যেমন 3 মান্থস তাদের দেওয়া হয়েছে হ্যাঁ তাই হয়তো লেটার পাইতে একটু দেরি হয়েছে মনে কর 2-3 উইকস তার হয়তো প্ল্যান্ড হলিডে আছে হয়তো কয়েক সপ্তাহ তাই থাকতা না হ্যাঁ বা আদার প্রবলেম আছে বা কেউ হয়তো হসপিটালাইজেশন হয়ে গেছিল গিয়া দেন তাই গোড়াইয়া লেটার পাইছেন হয়তো তার 1 মাস সময় আছে তার হয়তো এডিশনাল টাইম দরকার তারা এক্সটেনশন সিক করতে পারবা একটা ফোন নাম্বার দেওয়া থাকবো লেটারও ফোন করিয়া তারা টাইম লিমিট বাড়াইবার লাগে হইতে পারবা আর যদি কেউ মনে করো তো লেটার গন মিসিং তারা হয়তো কেউ কোনো লেটারও পাইছেন না হয়তো দেখা যায় তাই জানছেনও তার বেনিফিট বন্ধ হয়ে গেছে তখন তাই হয়তো রিয়েলাইজ করছেন যে সামথিং must have gone wrong তারা হয়তো লেটার দিস টাইম লেটার পাইছেন না in that sort of situation benefit will stop and you need to make a claim as soon as you know that you are no longer getting the legacy benefits so
okay so যারা নিনি ইলা কোনো কেস আছে নি যে ইউনিভার্সাল ক্রেডিট গিয়া তারার আরো মানে বেনিফিট হইছে
definitely আছে some people although universal credit from our experience it's a mixed bag basically so কেউ হয়তো বেটার অফ হইবা কেউ ওয়ার্স অফ হইবা হ্যাঁ ইনিশিয়ালি হয়তো যে আমরা যে আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং আছে যে দেখা গেছে যে হয়তো মোস্ট পিপল উইল বি ওয়ার্স অফ হ্যাঁ দেন গভর্নমেন্ট হ্যাড টু অ্যাক্ট particularly তারা একটা ট্রানজিশনাল প্রোটেকশন আনছেন যারা হয়তো দরকার লেগেসি বেনিফিটের মাঝে যারা ডিসেবিলিটি বেনিফিট ফাইন এরা লাগে একটা অ্যাডিশনাল এলিমেন্ট আছে যেটা সিভিয়ার ডিসেবিলিটি premium so severe disability premium is a premium that can increase your benefit quite a lot so it's something quite important that people keep it so there were some issues in some cases back on and forth and the government decided to give transitional protection to people so particularly zara doroka hoto apnar SDP ase ba severe disability premium in most cases government is eta hoise je apnar worse off হইতা নাই বুঝছেন সো এটলিস্ট দরকা আন্ডার দ্য কারেন্ট সিস্টেম যে এন্টাইটেলমেন্ট তান আছে এবং যখন তানের নিউ সিস্টেমও মাইগ্রেট করাইব যদি দেখা যায় যে there is a difference of for example maybe 30 pound worse off হইরা তান এটা ট্রানজিশনাল প্রোটেকশন হিসাবে এটা টপ আপ পেমেন্ট দিয়া যাইব until it erodes with the increase in benefit rates in the future so definitely like for individuals and families যারা হয়তো যে লেভেল অফ ইনকাম আছে এটার একটা প্রোটেকশন আছে আপনার থ্রু দ্য ট্রানজিশনাল প্রোটেকশন but transitional protection bear in mind transitional protection are only given to people those who are invited like under the managed migration যারা মাইগ্রেট করা যারা হয়তো দরকার ন্যাচারাল মাইগ্রেশন অলরেডি করে লইছেন এরা হয়তো they lost out unfortunately there is no protection for this group
right I see so what are the basic preparations that anyone needs to make to start moving on or when they do the application for universal credit
It is very important. I mean, personally, having worked in welfare rights for so long, what I see that as a community, আমরা বাংলাদেশি মানুষ very underprepared অনেকেই আর কি হয়তো কারণ একটা জিনিস হচ্ছে কি তাদের দরকার over many years people are so used to receiving letters and reminders in the post or even some cases telephone calls and then obviously কোনো for example যখন একটা হাউজিং বেনিফিটের একটা এক্সাম্পল দেই যদি দেখা যায় যে কেউ গড়ে হয়তো 18 বছর উপরে কোনো ছেলে মেয়ে আসেন এরা 18 হওয়ার আগে লোকাল অথরিটি ইউজুয়ালি একটা লেটার তার কাছে সেন্ড করে কইব যে হয়তো যে your child is turning 18 please let us know what would they do when they turn 18 after the 18th birthday similarly like child benefit still তারা লেটার সেন্ড করে so the onus would be on the claimants vijinani so people have to be more proactive and the main claim the system এটা হলো কি আপনার online claim করবা by registering from the universal credit portal and then you have to manage through the journal so all the communications will be through the journal so this is one group there is also telephone claim facilities available for those who have special needs maybe হয়তো যারা হয়তো IT literacy নাই বা যারা হয়তো দরকার হয়তো need help other ways বা যারা হয়তো দরকার for example হয়তো lacks mental capacity বা learning disabilities আছে of course এখানে আরেকটা ইস্যু আছে যারা এই ধরনের সিচুয়েশন আছেন যারা হয়তো নিজের অ্যাফেয়ার্স নিজে হ্যান্ডেল করতে পারেন না এরা হয়তো ফ্রেন্ডস এন্ড ফ্যামিলি থেকে অ্যাপয়েন্টই আছেন যারা হয়তো ডিডব্লিউপি তারারে অ্যাপয়েন্ট করছে টু অ্যাক্ট অন দেয়ার বিহাফ এই গ্রুপের লাগে হয়তো it would be easier to manage কিন্তু আমরা কমিউনিটির যে একটা মানে সিনারিও এটা কনসিডার করলে আর কি ইটস এ হিউজ কালচার শিফট ফ্রম something they're quite used to, their comfort zone maybe, they know they can pick up the phone and talk to someone. They can still do, but if they start their claim process online, then they have to do it online.
Okay, but is there another way to apply, or is
like I'm saying, you can claim over the phone as well, but the main change is that obviously you need to decide on a telephone claim or online claim if online you need a phone to receive a text message OTP আইব every time যদি দরকার হয় লগইন করতে চান plus initially একটা email address লাগবো then you can choose the contact preference whether you want to be contacted over email or via the mobile SMS so যদি মনে হয় এখন তারা আপনারা একটা for example একটা কমিটমেন্ট তারা আপনারা accept করার লাগিয়া দরকার হয় then they will message you through your mobile text message dibo the login and act so when you get the prompt then you have to log in you can log in on the phone as well or maybe tablets and mobile device and you can also log in using your laptop desktop but online basically so you have to act ata jinis jeta the mane mobile phone plus email address to dorkar obviously initially for both telephone claims and online claims and identification arakta at a big hurdle asilo nekhol lagia but it's been made quite easy now
identification money the documents
যেমন ড্রাইভিং লাইসেন্স দরকার হইব পাসপোর্ট দরকার হইব দুইটা জিনিস দরকার হইব এই লিস্ট থেকে পে স্লিপ ও P60 তারপরে আপনার দরকার হয়তো যদি ক্রেডিট হিস্ট্রি থাকে যেমন আমি অনলাইন একটা ক্লেম করলাম ক্লেম সাবমিট করার পরেও হইব যে you need to verify your identification then identification যখন আপনি যাইবা তখন এই লিস্টের মধ্যে আপনার 6টা অপশনস আছে যদি ড্রাইভিং লাইসেন্স থাকে even provisional license থাকলেও it will do don't have
so
to
like
have
photo তুলিয়া online submit করা যায়
no you need to follow the online instruction আপনার তারা করে কিতা যে আপনার যে পাসপোর্টের মধ্যে যে ইনফরমেশন আছে like passport number date of issue for আপনার expiry date passport number obviously is already held by the government department secondly যেমন আপনি যদি ডিভিএলএর ডেটা তারা অ্যাক্সেস করতে পারে if you choose to identification as passport and driving license then you need to tick the box to give them permission to share information and what they do during the ID verification it takes literally about 10 minutes to do the ID and claim process if you are fast enough then you can do in about half an hour if you have all the information when you start the process then hopefully you can do a successful claim under an hour maybe even quicker it depends
and how quickly do they respond is there a time frame on
they will initially after you submit the claim and do the ID verification they will still book an initial appointment to your local job center so depending on your postcode sometimes if you live in an area where there is more than one so it could be one depending on the second part of your postcode so you have to go and see them you still need to take your ID and then if you obviously some people will be claiming maybe for example I'm maybe job seeking so I'm coming from the job seekers allowance maybe I'm coming from the employment and support allowance maybe I've been incapable of work for quite a long time so I can import my existing work capability assessment in that case I'll get additional money because they recognize like the carer the people who are those who are incapable of work. Maybe those who are severely disabled and so on. Of course there are additions like if you claim as a single or as a couple and then like dependents children those who are in full-time education and under the age of 20 but obviously certain cases it will not be included if somebody is maybe 18-year-old and starting university maybe this month or next month so there are situations obviously they will assess based on your family needs and family situation.
So what roles do the London Borough of Camden the welfare rights team play in supporting the claimants?
I mean, we obviously are a specialist advice organization, and we have some referral criteria.
Okay.
We take cases on from our outreach officers, occupational therapists, social workers. I mean, those who can access services elsewhere and are mobile, like maybe to visit their local advice center. We would not see them. We would see only people, those who have substantial needs and those who are maybe housebound.
Right. Okay. And how can people kind of, or the claimants as such, access your in-house advice services?
Like I said, a lot of referrals that we get them from colleagues within the council who are already working in the community.
I see.
And sometimes we get referrals from volunteer organizations, those who have working links, and they would refer cases to us.
And is this sort of a similar process for all sort of London boroughs and things? Is it the same sort of thing that's coming about?
Most local authorities have welfare rights. Some actually lost their welfare rights service when we had the restructuring, and as you know, probably the council lost a lot of funding over the years. So they had to prioritize the service they keep and service they don't provide anymore. Or maybe it's probably more cost effective providing elsewhere using third-party organizations. But we are fortunate in Camden, we still have our welfare rights teams.
Okay, that's great. And so what are some of the risks associated with moving to universal credit?
Like anything, when something new is introduced, I mean, people do get confused, and people need a lot of kind of help and information, and what I'm here today is to pass the message across to the community, especially the Bangladeshi community, to get ready, because there is no way you can escape the migration. Like I explained earlier, if you are the recipient of one of these 6 benefits under the legacy benefits, that what we call, or the traditional benefits, you will get, sooner or later, you will get a migration letter. So you have to act, and you have to act within the time frame. The risk that we see, maybe some people will not be able to access support, and in a worst case scenario, maybe if their letter go missing, because sometimes we hear the services of the Royal Mail.
But you did say there is an extension, or there is
if you ask for an extension, and if you have a good reason, of course, you will get an extension. They will allow you additional time. But I'm concerned that sometimes people who lack the mental capacity or have learning disability, they might get the letter and not read it and leave it, and then not act until their benefits been stopped. So these are the groups, especially if you have friends and family,
they're quite vulnerable, isn't it?
Vulnerable, especially if you have friends and family that belong to this group. So you may have to try and keep an eye on their post and see whether they need help, or whether they need help accessing services from our service. So by all means, they can get in touch. The other thing that the risk, when we're talking about people who will be without money, and also people likely to have increased rent arrears, because don't forget, the housing benefit that people are used to receiving from the local council will be part of the universal credit, and you will get your housing element through the universal credit claim. So not just the money for your day-to-day living expenses, but also your rent. You still have to make a separate claim for the council tax support from the local authority, but the housing benefit will no longer be paid by the local authority. When you migrate to universal credit, it will become part of your universal credit.
So they're paying it to you, and then are you then responsible of paying your rent to your landlord?
That's correct. And also there are situations where you can ask your housing element to be paid directly to your landlord. For example, like in Camden, where we know maybe a tenant is vulnerable, the rent officer will send a request through the online portal to housing benefit to pay them direct. So because sometimes, especially we are living in a situation with the cost of living, everything's gone up, like so much, and the money, even people, those who are in work, are still kind of finding it hard to manage their household budget. So the problem is that when you get your rent money paid direct to you, you'll be tempted to put the food on table, then pay your rent.
Of course.
So there may be,
and not everyone knows how to budget and move money aside and things. And as you say, if they don't have the mental capacity to understand it, they'll probably see, oh, £500 is coming to my bank account, I'm just going to go and spend it.
No, definitely.
But, part of that is my rent. They're not going to understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's good that they have these other initiatives in place to pay the rent directly. We do see a lot of people relying on food banks, and even if they're working, there are working people that are relying on food banks.
100%.
Not just those
it's not just those who are claiming benefits. People in work are regularly visiting the food banks, as you said rightly. The other thing I want to say also that universal credit is a monthly benefit, so people are used to receiving some benefits are paid weekly, some are fortnightly, state pensions are paid for weekly, although it doesn't affect pensioners, but some pensioners will still be penalized because of the mixed stage couple rule, which we talked about in the previous episode. If we have time, I can also touch base on this later on. But what I'm saying that people will receive money in arrears, and the first payment will not hit your bank account for up to 5 weeks. So the good thing
what
with
people meant to do in between that time.
this is what I'm saying. So I have something else to obviously offer, so that it helps people, those who are watching, hopefully. Under the managed migration, most benefits, they will do a run-on for 2 weeks. So for example, if I am invited to claim, even a housing benefit will be paid for 2 weeks after you put in your claim. Some other benefits that you get also will be put in, run-on will be paid for 2 weeks. So you will still have a 3 weeks gap. So what we are using in Camden, we have the household support fund, and we also have the cost of living funds, the money that are given to councils. Not just in Camden, most councils would have been given this fund by the government. So we try and make and utilize the funds, those funds. So if I'm helping a family switch from the legacy to universal credit, I know that they will probably have their money for 2 weeks, and then we can help them with crisis payment from the council.
Dear viewers, we're going to come back to this topic. So today's topic is on welfare and benefits. We're taking a very short break, so please do stay with us, and we will be back very shortly. Dear viewers, welcome back to Family Focus, and today's topic is welfare and benefits. Today I have with us our guest, Manjuruddin, and he is a senior advisor at London Borough of Camden, where he's got over 30 years of experience working in the welfare and benefits team. Manju bhai, we were talking about, the 3 months that people have to claim. So can you tell us, is there a good time for them to claim and a good time to put in their application?
Yeah, definitely.
Can they put in the application before they receive the letter?
No, unless in some situation people could be better off. In this case, there is no need to wait. And there are some cases, particularly those who are single disabled, we have obviously done many calculations, and it works out better for those who are single and have disability, because they they can get actually more money through the universal credit. So
would you say যে যারা সিটি পাইছেন তারা ওয়েট obviously সিটি ফাইলিলে তো তুমি অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করতে যারা সিটি পাইছেন না বো ইগু তো একটা চেঞ্জ অটোমেটিক্যালি চেঞ্জ একটা আইওর so should they go on to applying or wait for the letter?
like যেটা আমি কইতাছিলাম যে অনেক সিচুয়েশনে হয়তো একজন বেটার অফ হইতে পারে. They need to seek advice based on their individual circumstance, and obviously a lot of the time any disability benefit that somebody gets can make a huge difference. So they need to seek tailored advice based on their situation, and if they're better off under the new system, then why should they wait?
Okay.
But as we're talking about the managed migration, and managed migration you can only claim when you are invited to. Okay. And those who are worse off, it would be advisable that they wait, because if you are getting something that you are likely to maybe get less, then why would you instigate it?
Yeah.
You should rather wait until the letter comes and maybe too close to the deadline, so that you get the maximum benefits out of it. যেটা আমি আসলে কইতাছিলাম যে যারা দরকার হয়তো যে কোয়েশ্চনটা আপনি আমার করছিল ব্রেকের আগে, যে অনেকে হয়তো যে 5 weeks ফয়লা পেমেন্টের লাগি ওয়েট করা লাগবো, and how are they meant to survive during this time? So often আসলে যে দেখা যায় আপনার এই সিচুয়েশনও লোকাল অথরিটি সকলের কাছে ফান্ড আছে, যেটা আমি আগে কইতাছিলাম যে 2 weeks রানন যদি কেউরে দেয়, then they will be left with 3 weeks without money in this case. So এই সিচুয়েশনও দরকার লোকাল অথরিটির কাছ থেকে তারা কস্ট অফ লিভিং পেমেন্ট বা হাউসহোল্ড সাপোর্ট ফান্ড থেকে একটা পেমেন্ট চাইতে পারেন, যদিও তারা ডিপেন্ডিং অন দ্য ফ্যামিলি মেকআপ, সিঙ্গেল হইলে এক রেট, উইথ চিলড্রেন কাপল হইলে আর এক রেট, ডিসেবিলিটি থাকলে আর এক রেট. সো অবভিয়াসলি তারা দুইটা পেমেন্ট হয়তো অ্যাভেল করতে পারবা. দেন অ্যাগেইন ইট মাইট নট বি ইনাফ, সো দের আর অপশনস যে অ্যাডভান্স পেমেন্ট চাইতে পারেন তারা. No, nothing is automatic.
They're not going to see you without 5 weeks of payment.
No,
and
definitely not. Yeah, there are community hub within the councils. Like again, I have to give example in Camden that what we have the tackling poverty team যারা এইটা ম্যানেজ করেন. tackling poverty team হলে আবার অনেক কমিউনিটি এবং ভলান্টারি অর্গানাইজেশন তারা আউটরিচ করা. So through this তারা কানেকশন আছে বিভিন্ন কমিউনিটির লগে, বিভিন্ন অর্গানাইজেশনের লগে. সো অনেক মানুষ হয়তো দরকার হয়তো কাউন্সিল অফিসে যাইতো না, বাট একটা লোকাল কমিউনিটি সেন্টারে হয়তো যাইব, কমফোর্টেবল ফিল করবো. সো দ্যাটস ওয়াই তারা যে ট্যাকলিং পভার্টি টিম যেটা ক্যামডেন আমি কইরাম, তারা অলরেডি মানে ওয়েল কানেক্টেড উইথ দ্য কমিউনিটি হাবস. সো এখানে গিয়েও তারা চাইলে অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করতে পারবা. আর একটা জিনিস যেটা খোয়াত আসলাম, যে হয়তো যদি দেখা যায় যে কেউ হয়তো উইদিন দ্য লাস্ট 1 year মাঝে একটা বা দুইটা পেমেন্ট লই লিছেন, ম্যাক্সিমাম 2 পেমেন্ট ফাইবা কস্ট অফ লিভিং থেকে এবং 1 পেমেন্ট ফ্রম হাউসহোল্ড সাপোর্ট ফান্ড. যদি দেখা যায় অলরেডি তারা হয়তো স্ট্রাগলিং এবং এই ধরনের পেমেন্ট হয়তো তারা দুইটা ফাইলেছেন, হয়তো আর একটা ফাইবা, বিকজ উইদিন দ্য লাস্ট 12 months পিরিয়ড you can only have 3 of these payments altogether, 2 from cost of living and 1 from household support fund. So দেখা গেল যে হয়তো তাই একটা পেমেন্ট ফাইরা ইন দিস কেস যদি তান আর কোনো ওয়ে না থাকে দেন তাই হয়তো অ্যাডভান্স পেমেন্ট সিক করতে পারবা ইউনিভার্সাল ক্রেডিটর কাছ থেকে ইউজিং দ্য জার্নাল অর ওভার দ্য ফোন। বাট অ্যাডভান্স পেমেন্ট যেটা দিব এটা লোন হিসাবে দিব, এটা আবার যখন তার মান্থলি পেমেন্ট দেওয়া আরম্ভ করবো এটা আবার খাটিয়ে নিব। সো অবভিয়াসলি দ্য ডিডাকশন ইজ কোয়াইট হাই রেট লাইক 17-18%. সো দেখা যায় দেখে 1,000 পাউন্ড মাসও পাইলেও তো 100-120 পাউন্ড মাসও তারা ডিডাকশন করে এনার্জি। সো এন্ড ইট ক্যান টেক যদি 1,000 পাউন্ড কেউ বড় করেন অ্যাডভান্স পেমেন্ট আনুন, ইট উইল টেক 10 months. সো আদার থিংস আছে যেটা অনেক হয়তো দেখা যায় হয়তো স্মল অ্যামাউন্ট অফ সেভিংস আছে বা অনেক হয়তো এডিশনাল বেনিফিটস আছে লাইক চাইল্ড বেনিফিট ফাইন বা ডিসেবিলিটি বেনিফিট ফাইরা সামা হয়তো এরা পয়লা পিরিয়ডটা আপনার ফার্স্ট পেমেন্ট পর্যন্ত মানে সার্ভাইভ করা লাগে আর কি বুঝছেন। সো using this variety of options যেটা আমি কইলাম লাইক কস্ট অফ লিভিং ফান্ড ফ্রম কাউন্সিল, তারপরে আপনার যেটা রান অন 5 বা 2 weeks প্লাস এডিশনাল বেনিফিটস। আর আদার থিং ইজ ডোন্ট ফরগেট ইউনিভার্সাল ক্রেডিট কিন্তু মাইগ্রেট অনলি করা না দোজ হু আর আউট অফ ওয়ার্ক, দোজ হু আর ইন ওয়ার্ক, যারা সেলফ এমপ্লয়েড আছেন, যারা ট্যাক্স ক্রেডিট রিসিপিয়েন্ট তারাও আপনার মাইগ্রেট করা। সো অবভিয়াসলি দোজ হু আর সেলফ এমপ্লয়েড দে উড বি এক্সপেক্টেড টু হ্যাভ সাম ইনকাম। সো for a short period like 2-3 weeks they should be able to survive somehow using other means of income, whether it's benefit or their earnings.
So is someone who's self-employed, is their claim handled differently or is it the same kind of criteria?
Like people those who are self-employed and used to receiving tax credit, maybe because for example I come across a lot of taxi drivers maybe not earning enough or working maybe part-time, maybe due to their carrying responsibility towards children, or maybe somebody who's disabled in the family and not earning enough, they get paid tax credit. Under the new universal credit they can claim tax like the replacement of tax credit, but the only difference for the self-employed people will be যেমন আগে ট্যাক্স ক্রেডিটের মধ্যে তারা অ্যানুয়ালি তারা অ্যাকাউন্ট সাবমিট করা লাগছে।
Okay.
Under the universal credit you have to do a monthly income and expenditure sheet.
Okay.
And this is what is putting off some people, maybe those who are on the borderline maybe don't get as much for maybe small amount of money they
so
find
they have to submit that every month.
This is the rules. This is maybe seen as a lot of work for people to organize, but at least they should be on top of their finances all the time if they're self-employed, especially making sure they're separating the small pocket of
income and
expenditure they have and budget for things.
Okay. So আমরা তোরা বাংলায় কইলে একটা আমরা যে ক্যাব ড্রাইভার্স বা ট্যাক্সি ড্রাইভার্স তারার বেশিরভাগ ও সিচুয়েশন থাকতে পারে যে সেলফ এমপ্লয়েড but low income, so they're still claiming universal credit.
Some top up,
So tantanor month by month tantan income expenditure dekhani
every month, alage কইরাম যে অনেকে initially যেটা হতো আমি ফাইসি যারা লগে হতো ডিল করছে যারা সেলফ এমপ্লয়েড আকি দেখা গেছে হতো যে তার ইনকাম is right under the threshold, so they probably get a small amount, and some people were thinking, oh, is it worth the hassle? But obviously in a situation that we are living in with all the cost of living crisis, every little amount will help. So it's actually worth exploring, like
and of course if your situation changes, especially if you're self-employed, one month you might be earning more than the following month. So does the universal credit make up for that difference?
Of course, especially those who are employed, and the reason why they pay in arrears at the end of the month. Like I was saying before, that you don't get your first payment for about 5 weeks, then you get on a set date in a monthly so what I was saying earlier, that your question was about
so do they make up the difference
for that? Those who are employed, the reason why they get paid in arrears because they get the net income data from the HMRC end of the month, and this is
then
when
they
work out the following month how much you should get.
So then they're not making lots of adjustments and deductions.
Likewise for the self-employed people, you have to submit your income and expenditure, and this is why they designed the system to pay people in areas based on the real income. Before like
Which makes sense.
I don't know if you remember it, under the tax credit, people would get an estimated amount every week or every 4 weekly. Then at the end of the year, by 31st of July, you'd be sent an annual declaration form. And this is when, if you underestimated your income and you earned more, then you end up with an overpayment. And if you overestimated your income but actually you earn less, then you get a lump sum top-up payment, like one-off payment to make up for your, and this is when they used to finalize your tax credit award. Under the universal credit, there is no such thing because they're paying you on the real term, like real income. If it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, which is better, I suppose, because you don't want to be living in the unknown. What's coming? Is there going to be a big adjustment?
Yeah, especially if you're self-employed, and if you work any extra hours, then you end up earning more than you expected, and this is where you have to deal with an overpayment.
That's a lot of mess, isn't it? Okay, so with the living costs having gone up, obviously everybody's suffering with the living costs going up. People on benefits, have they had their benefits increased to match the living costs going up?
Yes, as you probably seen in the news, if you're following, the benefit gone up by 6.7%. Usually it goes up in April, and it would be based on the September previous year's figure. Generally, this is like a system that many organizations within the government, they follow, even the treasury and everyone. So what people are going to receive in terms of the annual increase will be based on the September inflation rate, so which was obviously quite high last year, September. That's why the benefit was increased by 6.7% for everyone across the board.
And do you think the 6.7% was a good enough raise for it to cover the costs?
I mean, obviously, the welfare budget of the government is quite huge, although at the same time we hear the stories, especially amongst the pensioners, like a lot of money goes unclaimed every year, billions. You'd normally see Age UK, which is obviously a charity for the older people, would conduct research, and they would say like billions remained unclaimed because within the older people, a lot of people would not actually claim. There is a bit of reluctance, and
do you think is it reluctance, or is it that they don't know?
It could be.
When you get to a certain age, you're not ready.
That's what I'm saying. They probably need help, or they don't access the help or get the help. Sometimes probably people think, I'm probably already getting enough, I don't need any more. So sometimes we get clients we have to pursue, like that, this is your rights and you are entitled to this, why would you not claim it? So okay, makes sense.
So is there a sort of like a savings limit or something that people need to be aware of?
Yes, certainly. I would give you an example of the savings. Obviously, the upper limit is 16,000, which used to be for like housing benefit, income support, job seekers allowance, and so on. The tax credit, if you remember, they never had any savings limit. Okay, it was purely based on income. So somebody could have had a maybe inheritance sitting in the bank, maybe, or have saved up for something. They would not have been penalized. The reason why they would get tax credit is purely because their income isn't enough, and the savings would not come to play. However, under the universal credit, there is a upper savings limit of 16,000, and this will mean that some people will lose out because of the savings limit, which did not exist under the old tax credit system. Although the government is saying that they will disregard any savings of over 16,000 for the first year, but then again, what happens in the second year, and not that people who try and kind of spend their savings to try and take advantage, because there is also another set of rules, like if you spent your savings to try and take advantage of the benefit system, then you'd have to obviously answer a lot of questions. So like there will be a small group of people, those who are fortunate to maybe work hard and save some money for whatever reasons, whether it's for the wedding of their sons or daughters, or maybe for rainy days, or even funeral and a lot of other plans that people could have for their retirement, will be penalized under the new universal credit system, because obviously 16,000 would be the upper limit, which did not exist under the old system.
So there's a lot of people that say, and this is what I hear, is that when someone's on universal credit and stuff, for instance, they do chase you to go to work, or they want you to do some sort of training and upskill yourself so you can get back into work. Is that true?
It is in some way, because the conditionality is quite strict in universal credit. Give an example, like if somebody is a carer, maybe a person in their 40s is a carer to maybe a disabled child, and the wife, maybe she was not working or working part-time, and if that person received carer's allowance and received income support as a carer, the partner would not need to meet any conditionality. He or she could sit on the partner's claim without needing to be available for work or seeking for work. Under the universal credit, obviously a couple will set up a claim. One person will obviously claim, then request a couple code, and then the second person in a couple, when he or she claims, would need to use that couple code, linking code, to merge their claim as a couple. And this is when they both will need to satisfy the conditionality. So if in this case scenario, husband is maybe a carer for a disabled child, or maybe a disabled adult son or daughter, and wife isn't doing anything, then the husband, being a carer, will be relieved of kind of all the conditionality, but the partner will need to be running around and doing things to improve their chances of getting into the job market. So is again, like, will be quite new for some people. I mean, I've had clients maybe where a grown-up son or daughter is disabled and one person isn't enough to maybe handle, because maybe they have got some learned disabilities, maybe they're violent or aggressive, and one person, one set of hands is not enough. So in this case, obviously, when a couple from income support is migrated to universal credit, they will have the luxury to both be available to look after the child.
Oh, I see. So there's again, I'm talking on behalf of the audience here. There was a few questions around independent. What is it? PIP.
Yeah.
That's independence payment?
Personal independence payment. Yeah.
Yeah. So some people have disabilities, be it physical or be it mental disabilities or incapability of going to work. And they were saying that they're being chased to go to work. So is there hubs or some sort of support system out there to support them? Because there are some cases where you actually can see someone has got a need, but the welfare system is saying, no, you can still work. No, you can still do 2 hours. You can still do 4 hours here. You've got to still find work. But by doing that, are they not penalizing people in the wrong way?
It's not uncommon, especially in the country, in the community, where some of the disability is quite kind of stigmatized, and sometimes people don't want to brand their son or daughter having a disability, and also sometimes people to accept that they have a significant disability, it takes some years, really. I've seen from very close, to a lot of families. Sometimes it's very hard, especially if your son or daughter is diagnosed with maybe learning disability or autism. It takes some time to accept that yes, he or she has a significant problem.
Have accepted it's very hard to prove, like for instance, a mental disability. How do you prove that that's going on?
This is what I'm saying, because they I was actually coming on to that point. I picked up from your question, but what I'm saying, this is one set of problems with, like, not accessing services or seeking advice. So maybe sometimes you come across cases where a person has a significant disability, or a health condition. They never been to their GP or discussed their problems, so there is no records. And these are the cases sometimes we even struggle, because there is no history. When you need the evidence to substantiate your claim, there is no evidence in the records. So, these are the cases where you have to really work like extra to try and, get
Provide
the family
evidence.
to engage with services and get some assessment done, establish
even the assessments, they're taking so long. For instance,
Yes,
like if you
depends,
look at autism, it takes like 2-3 years before they find a final plan for a child.
Yeah, a lot of the things actually start from school, like especially if you're talking about autism, because it will be probably diagnosed, in the childhood. But what I'm saying, especially with young adults or adults like and those who are kind of shying off from the services and not engaging, these are the hard cases. But at least if you go to see your GP or the healthcare provider and get on their books and try and get some fit note. Universal Credit call it fit note. People are so used to knowing this as a sick note.
Sick note.
It's other way around, but it's the same thing. So that the viewers don't get confused. The fit note and the sick note is the same thing, but it's just the name used by the Universal Credit is fit note. So you get your GP to issue fit note. You start your claim, okay, and then hopefully. They will pick up and they will refer you for a healthcare assessment, which is obviously in an organization. They are commissioned by the DWP to carry out, an assessment. So if you're talking about somebody claiming universal credit as a sick person or person who's incapable of work, the first thing they need to do, obviously, get a fit note, start their claim, okay, and during the assessment phase, we call it assessment phase, the first 3 months of the claim. So, the DWP will send your details to the healthcare provider. They'll send you a form, you fill it out, then you attend an assessment, whether it's done by the phone or face-to-face.
Sorry, I have to cut you off there. Dear viewers, we're going on a very short break and we will see you back for the final segment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. Sorry. Dear viewers, welcome back to another episode of Family Focus. We are in our final segment, and today's topic was on welfare and benefits with Manjur Uddin here. And you are a senior advisor at London Borough of Camden, and you've given us so much information today. Hopefully, somewhere along the way, someone will take that information and they will find some sort of comfort and some sort of benefit from that.
Sure.
So what is your final piece of advice that you will give to anyone who is moving over to universal credit?
Yeah, I mean, I would say don't panic. Of course, there is a deadline and you have to act. You have to work out when would be the best time, especially if you're receiving legacy benefits and you'd be migrating. So you have to actually decide on when would be the best time, depending on what benefits you are receiving. So have a look at that. And seek advice if you're in doubt. There are advice services available across the country, wherever you live in, you know, whether you are in London or outside London, maybe not as much outside, but I would say seek advice and, you know, act. Don't wait.
Yeah. And so where can some of the viewers go or our claimants go for assistance with universal credit?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, the government pledged some money to the Citizens Advice. So obviously there are Citizens Advice almost everywhere in the country. So if you're in doubt or if you need help, you should go to CAB, or if you are usually seeing somebody locally, like in a community centre or law centre or welfare rights team, you know, there are voluntary and charity organisations almost every corner in the country. Just speak to them and work out. If you start early, not that you have 3 months' time and leave it till the last day, because you could be without money for a period of time. So you have to really plan. And it's hard to say something that would be common for everyone. It will all depend
Everyone has
on
their own individual
you have to
cases.
have a tailored advice, basically.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Manjur Bhai, for sharing your valuable insights and the knowledge that you've brought to us. As I said before, hopefully someone listening will take some sort of comfort and some sort of benefit from what you shared today.
Yeah.
And knowing those time frames, of course, a lot of people probably don't even know this is coming up. So both manche you know, buzba bazan baze ar ekta
No, 100%. কারণ আমার এই এফোর্ট will be worthwhile যদি দরকার মানুষের কামও লাগে, ঠিক না? So ওটাও আমি আশা করব আসলে.
Yes. So as we wrap up, let's remember to advocate for equitable access to benefits and support for all. Your engagement and feedback is crucial as we continue to tackle pressing family issues together. Stay tuned for our upcoming episodes where we'll explore topics further and share more stories of resilience and hope. So dear viewers, we greatly appreciate your presence in this episode of Family Focus. We're excited to announce that we'll be featuring a new topic every 2 weeks. Our upcoming episodes will continue to host discussions with experts on the chosen subject, and we will also provide a platform for individuals to share their personal stories, ultimately benefiting our families. Your feedback holds a significant value for us, and of course, we will be really grateful to see you back on the next episodes. And if you've got any topics that you want us to bring forward, please do comment on our YouTube page or our Facebook page, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.